Hey there, this is Catherine Cartwright. Welcome. I am sharing some products from Spellbinders. I picked up the Big Caboodle, I think it's called. It's like the monthly collection, and maybe this is from April. I'm not even sure. I'm just pulling it out. I'm just going to show you what's in there, and then I'm going to make a card with one of the stencils. So I'm familiar with Spellbinders, and I have some of their things, but I haven't had a collection from them in a while. And this is, wax seal says "so proud of you," and so it's got a handle, and my daughter will use that for sure because she loves to do wax seals. So this one had this little crayon set, yay crayons. I think this was a freebie if you were the club member or whatever. I'm not 100% sure on that. There's a better press set on here. I don't have a better press machine, but I think I can make this work pressing into paper somehow. So I'm going to explore that. But it had this cute little die to cut the sentiments. And then here is scribbled a note. This is for the glimmer, the hot foil, which I do have that machine, and I haven't used it in a long time. So I'm excited about those little pencils. Here's a stencil called Right On, and then I didn't realize this during it. There are 4 layers, and then I could see the numbers, and then I got to the 5th one, and I was looking for the number, but I didn't realize that it was like a separate one, an independent one, I should say. It didn't have anything to do with this stencil. It took me a minute, and I was just like, well, looking for the number. I don't see the number, and then when I flipped it over later, I saw the pattern, and I was like, okay. So basically, you get a set of 4 and then an additional stencil in that set. This is Crayon Creations, which is so cute. I love crayons. I have an older crayon set from another company I've had forever, and they were a little skinnier crayons, so these are a little bit wider. So I'm excited. I love they have the dies on that. This one is a stitched. I guess there's a stitch club as well. Again, I'm kind of new back to Spellbinders and such. So there's a stitching die included, and you can stitch the chairs and stuff. So that's kind of fun. I'm interested in that. Small die of the month. Definitely interested in the little apple and the little graduation cap. How cute. So for kids or for adults, and then also teachers. And then this one I've seen around Spell It Out Fridge. So it's supposed to be a refrigerator, and it's pretty large. It's about 5 3/4 almost. So it's a large die, so I'm curious to work with that. There is an add-on set that I purchased that had like some bottles and stuff in it. I got to pull that out too. So I'll have some other videos at some point when I work with these. Here's some 3D stencils, and I love this one with the books. Oh my goodness, that would be a stunning wedding card. The Stacked Stories is what that's called. And then there is some pewter colored foil that you could use with this. Okay, so I'm just going to make a quick card. I've got some Bristol Smooth, and then again, when I flipped it over and looked at the back, I could see that was just an independent stencil of the set. So you get 5 total, but just that last one is just a fun pattern. Okay, so I've got my grip mat here, and I am going to do some stenciling with the pencils, which is really cute. I have a child who's graduated from college who's going to be a teacher. And of course, I'm going to make this for her because I thought that's really what sold me kind of on the collection when I saw it coming out. Must have been, maybe it was April. Time is kind of blurring together, but because I'm just getting to things now. But basically, this would be fun to make cards for her, or to give her a set of cards that she could use for her future students. I love crayons and pencils too. Anyway, so I thought that would be really cute to have. So that's what kind of pushed me to get it, is to subscribe, is because I really wanted that set. And then I think there's a really cute set coming for May as well. I'm waiting on that. Okay, so this was the second stencil, I think. And I'm not that was 4. And I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to lay this, because the second stencil with the little tip of the pencil somewhere else, or maybe this is 2. I should be able to see, but I'm not 100% sure. But I went with this stencil next, whichever number it is. I didn't really pay enough attention to the numbers, if that was 2 or 3. But this is what I did next. So I just kind of lined it up, hoping that I've got the pencil lined up good enough, and I'm trying to choose my colors of what I wanted to use. So I'm obviously using Distress ink, and then this one is Dried Marigold, which is a newer, I've had this one, but it's actually become more of a favorite to me. I've really started to dig this one in the collection because it's kind of an orange, but it really is, the marigold like it says, but it's a really pretty color that's added a lot to the line. I've had this for a while. I know it's been in the line of Distress for a while, but I just thought it would look cute as a pencil. All right, so I'm just running my blending tool over this, inking this well. Now, I will say I re-inked my Distress pads not too long ago. It's been a smidge now, but they are very juicy, and which is one of the reasons why we enjoy the ink, is because it is very reactive to paper, and I use the Bristol, which it takes a second to soak in. So I did use my heat tool in between that layer. If there's any that's wet, I didn't want it to blend with the next color. So I have off camera taken that step if it looks a little damp. Like on this one particularly, I'm using this little tiny dauber, and it definitely put a lot of ink on because this ink pad is fairly newly re-inked, so it's very, very juicy. And I'm, as some of y'all know, I'm very heavy-handed with my ink, and so I put a lot on, and I'm gonna use my heat tool to dry this off as well, because I can already kind of see there's some pooling of the ink, and I don't want to proceed. You can see how there's some shine on there. When I lift up that stencil, you can see a little bit of the reflection. So you definitely want to make sure that is dry before you move on, because it will make kind of a mess. So I just wanted to point that out. That's one of the kind of unique properties I find with Distress, is that it can kind of sit on the card paper for a little bit and between layers. And then also I am using Bristol Smooth cardstock, which gives me a second to ink blend in, to soak in. It will eventually absorb, but it takes an added second to soak in. So but that's my favorite blending cardstock for sure, because it just blends so smoothly. But anyway, that's just a bunch of little tips about that. And I'm going to use, I think this is Vintage Photo, maybe. I'll look and see. I didn't look close enough. A darker brown, and I'm doing my little pencil, the body of the pencil, and then the little lead, which is so cute. I chose not to go with black because I wanted to keep this a little bit warmer in the colors to go with the little pink eraser, which is so cute. And then I did use antique linen on the little tip of the pencil, and I think it lined up pretty well. I'm going to miss a spot here. It looks like I can see I've got an area of the kind of tip of the pencil, the wood of the pencil, that's not that I missed, so I'll have to go back and fix that. But that's the great part about, layering stencil, is you can see where one layer was and the next one is, and so you can fix any errors like that. Okay, so very cute. And let me fix this last little area here. But love the grip mat. Just had craft day recently. This is a Diamond Press grip mat. It's their larger one. I want to say it's 9x13. And then they have, they've come out with some new sizes. They've got a 13x13, which I probably would not use because I don't do scrapbooking and such. But they got a 7x7, and I did pick that up because I want something a little bit smaller. I've got one in my stamp positioner, which I never really move out for smaller things, but I could use a little bit smaller, so I'm excited to try the smaller size. And there is my background. Really quick and easy. Had a lot of fun putting that together. And now I'm going to pull out this crayon creation, and it's so cute because you can see that there are little arms and a little feet and everything on it, legs on it, so you can kind of put your little crayon together. So I hope I can spend some time with that too, because I think that is just adorable. But there are all these dies included in this stamp, clear stamp and die, I guess, set. And so one of them says yay, which I say all the time via text. Yay is one of my favorite words to use. So I was excited to see that. And then to the best teacher. So there's also to the best student. So I'm just going to stamp these with some ink. I'm going to use red for the yay. My daughter's school colors are red and black, so I'm definitely going to use that. And then I'm just trying to decide which one I want. And then I'm going to use this brown from Stamps of Life called Twig, which is one of my favorite browns from them, a newer color. And then I'll use Strawberry, which is their red, just a basic bright red. And so I'm going to stamp that out, and then I will move on to the yay. I'll let that dry for a second, And I'm just using regular cardstock, nothing special on this one. And then I love that I can die cut around there to finish that off, and because then I can, put it wherever. All right, and I am going to die cut another shape. I'm going to use a piece of that, same piece of that brown cardstock, because I don't want this to really get lost in the pattern. So I need something to kind of ground my sentiments down. And so I'm going to have this little stitched oval, I should say, that was just lying around on my craft table. And so I just cut that out to add that. I'm going to add this to a little piece of light pink cardstock. I think this is from Stamps of Life as well. It's probably bubblegum. It's one of my favorite pinks, and I'm getting really low on it, so I need to replace it. And then I've got a card base with that twig paper, which is the brown, from Stamps of Life. Okay, and I'm just going to glue these directly on here. You could definitely use some foam, but I want to get this in the mail to my daughter and to send an additional congratulations. We were together for her graduation, which I know I've been talking about a lot in these videos because they've all been kind of together. So it's been at the front of my mind. And thank you to everyone for all your congratulations. Everybody's been so kind to mention that, but it is a big deal, and we're obviously very proud and excited for her. And honestly, I'm not really old enough, I don't think, to have a child that's graduated from college. Haha. Just kidding. I totally am. But it makes me feel a little bit older, so we're just not going to go there. And I wanted to add one more little thing. I noticed that grad cap that was in the die set, I think, and I'm going to glue this little tassel onto the little, so I've got the little red and black cap on here. And I will add a little bit of foam to the top of that just to make sure that it stands out so she sees it. So this will be for my little girl, who's not a little girl anymore. And but you could make a bunch of these with this fun stencil set. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you're well, and have a great day.